Hi everyone, and welcome to another segment of Mail Time. So we'll just go ahead and get right on into it. What I'll do is open the boxes off cam, put the stuff on the bench, and we'll go through it and look at it. So I ordered a 6E5 Magic Eye tube, and this is what I got. So actually, this is some stuff that Mike over at Mike's Radio Repair sent us. So we're going to open this stuff up. I'm going to open it off cam and then put the items on the bench, and we'll just take a look and see what we have. Alright, this is the first item that we took out of the box that Mike sent in. And this is something I've been waiting for a while, so we can restore another piece of equipment. And as you can see, it's an RCA tube, and the 6E5 Magic Eye tube. And there is a very nice 6E5 eye tube. And the reason I've been needing one of these is that I actually have a Heathkit IT-28 capacitor tester, and we'll be restoring that piece of equipment very soon because I've been wanting to get it up and running for a while. So thanks Mike for this tube. This will help out in getting that old piece of equipment back up and going. Now next up on the bench here out of the box is something that is very interesting, and it looks like it's been around for a long time. And what this is a variable air condenser, and it was made by the General Radio Company. And I mean, basically what this is it's a variable capacitor inside a box, and you got, this is where your probes will go. And there's, you know, many different uses for something like this. I mean, it's just, you know, a capacitor. You got your coarse tune, and then your fine tune down here. So, you know, although it's nothing really spectacular, but it's an interesting piece of equipment you have. You know, it could be many times where you need to test a circuit and you need a variable capacitor to do it with. This one is a 1000 microfarad, and it'll probably go down to about 0.0005, somewhere in that neighborhood. But this is the type 239-E with a serial number of 1889. And these are a little cleaning up. I see one screw missing. Now you see these are all chrome plated screws, so we'll have to see, can't we find an original one to go on here. But yes, I'm thinking 40s, 50s, somewhere in that vintage. I'm not sure. There's a calibration sticker on it, but unfortunately I'm not able to read what was on there. I might have to put it in the microscope and see. Oh yeah, we have a tag on the back of it. No dates. I don't see a date in it, but it's just talking about, you know, the plates. And at 1/32, spaced at 1/32, 17 plates. 17 plates stationary, 16 plates rotary. Approximate capacitance is 0.00003 microfarad. up to 1,000. Steel shaft runs a 45-degree brass cone bearings. Calibration data, and I see nothing marked on it. Oh yeah, 100. Yep, 1,055 microfarad. You can see this is from Cambridge, Massachusetts. Very nice vintage piece of equipment here. We'll take this thing apart later on and go through it and clean and lube and get everything on it back working right. There's always times where you need a big air variable capacitor to test something. And next out of the box is this McCabe Powers, and this is a microamp meter. Yes, I said microamp, not milliamp. As you can see right here, get the glare off of it. 200 microamps to 2. It's all 200. And you got 2 banana jack plugs at the bottom. Now, this thing will come in real handy at if you're working on transistor circuits and you need to measure the bias on a piece of equipment. You notice down in the microamp range, this should work fairly good. You see the meter goes from 0 to 200, and then it's from 0 to 2.2. Now if you look at this thing real good, it's obvious where this case came from. So there you go. I'll give you a side-by-side view. Simpson 260. You can see same identical case that the Simpson 260 was made in. All but the back panel is different. This is one solid piece and this is 2 pieces. Same handle as the Simpson 260. Same meter face. So yeah, so I'm not familiar with this company name. I don't know if this is something that somebody retrofitted or if this company actually took the Simpson 260 case and made this. Very, very interesting. Okay, I went ahead and removed the screws and we'll pull the case off. We just got to have a look inside this thing. We have a couple of disc capacitors and some huge germanium diodes on the circuit board. It's just a piece of variable board, but you can see just how large these germanium glass style diodes are. Pretty hefty, much bigger than a 1N48, 1N60s, 1N34s. And down here we just got a ceramic wafer switch with some precision resistors in it. You know, and just looking at this, as nice as it looked, I still cannot tell if this is a homebrew piece of equipment or this company actually built it. Just no way of telling. I have no idea. If you have any comments or thoughts on it, please, you know, leave it down below. Let me know. And another piece of equipment. I remember this name. I've heard this name before. Caltron Manufacturing out of Stanton, California, but I'm not familiar with this particular model, the CRM1 tester. No idea what's in here. Open it up and take a look. And what it appears to be is a microphone tester. I guess this is either the gain off on switch, and it says 3 mic inputs, 4 mic inputs, ground, external speaker, speaker, and there seems to be a speaker in here. So apparently this is some type of audio testing device for various microphones. And it never hurts to tear something apart and see. I see we have a 9-volt battery clip. The ground wire has came loose, so I'm thinking that's just probably chassis ground. You see the various connections on the back. There's a little small circuit board here, a few transistors, some metal transistors, a couple of transformers, and some capacitors and resistors. Never seen this circuit before. And also inside, and this is the operating instructions. Power switch, checking cartridge, crystal, magnetic, ceramics, check microphones, check speaker, code practice oscillator, looking to see if there's any date on here. I'm pretty sure it's from about 70s vintage. A nice little piece of equipment. I'll probably go ahead and change these capacitors out and get all this up and going, just to have this to check. I do have one of the newer model microphone check testers, but it is very nice looking unit. So we'll get it checked out and see what it does in a future video. And let's see, there's the schematic. Okay, next up is Cinco PM157 power monitor. Now, I went on Google and did a search, and really not finding a whole lot on this, so I don't know if this is a rare piece of equipment, but not finding a whole lot on it, not even a manual. But AC or DC amps, 1 amp, 3 amps, 10 amps, AC watts, line volts, line cord or test leads, amps only. So this is basically for monitoring line voltage and amperage and in watts. This meter can be a little bit confusing the way it's laid out. You have to really look at it to see what's going on, but it's rated here in ohms, from 100 ohms all the way down to 4.7 ohms, and the different amp ratings. This is your 3 amp ratings, and then your 1 amp ratings over top of it. And let's see on the back, have a big old door that is spring loaded. Line cord, grounded, and a couple of test leads, I guess, for measuring amperage. Alright, so I got to search around and try to find some information for this. But you can see the AC output jack here. So you know, you can monitor your line current, and monitoring what kind of amperage a piece of equipment pulls. This would be good for starting up an old tube rig, you know. If you put a variac in front of it, you better turn it on and monitor the line current, you know, and see how much the equipment is drawing. So yeah, very nice. So if anyone has any information on that, I'm sure Mike does. He's probably the king of manuals and schematics. So yeah, it's very nice. Looks real good. Very clean looking. I'm not going to tear it apart right now, but we'll go through it later and see what all this thing will do. Up next, we got a couple of vintage test leads. These are Pomona electronics test leads. This is the model 1569-C-48 and the model 4850-C-48. Now this one has never been opened. This one here has been cut at the top. I'm sure it's just to pull out and take a look at, because I don't think these has ever been used. And we can see we have the straight through dual banana jacks. You can plug straightly into the back of them, or you can also plug into the side of them. You got your tab marks your positive. Nice big healthy probe body, and even on the tip of it we have a little rubber protector. Keep the tip from getting damaged. These will work out real nice with some old vintage equipment we have, old oscilloscopes and so forth. Nice Pomona is very good quality equipment. They make some excellent test leads. So here's a couple we can add to our collection. So Mike has sent me a note here, and basically saying that this piece of equipment behind this manual is in great working condition. You know, all the other items are untested. And I still have more junk to send you later. So thanks for that, Mike. Now this is something that I have been wanting to get a hold of, and I did the video from this other stuff that I got from Creative Salvage. You know, man, there was a night capacitor tester in there. But this is one of the original, and it is a nice vintage piece of equipment. And what we have is the Solar Model CE capacitor exammeter. So yeah, there's a lot of different things in this type of capacitor. If you notice, there's no magic eye on this piece of equipment. There is a meter that you use, and basically you would you know, go and check the capacitor C1, you know, and turn your meter until you get your peak to read your capacitance. Also you know, leakage current in mega ohms, you know, like 1 mega ohm, 10, 100 mega ohms. Even has the power factor. Now, a piece of equipment like this wasn't just designed for the hobbyist. It was probably used in, you know, production stuff. When this thing is, you can switch from 5 milliamp to 50 milliamp meter ranges here. Basically turn it on, you know, set your voltage to read your volts. You would hold the button in, the voltage would display up here on the meter, and then you would read the milliamps of the capacitor. It's basically a vintage ESR meter. It tells you, you know, just how old this is, but still ESR was a concern way back then, and that's what it does. Now this also has a vacuum tube voltmeter built in it, so it's, you know, AC and DC for your checking voltage. Still, you know, all built into this one piece of equipment. This one is in very extreme, I mean, just great condition. The chrome around it is just beautiful. The front panel has no scratches on it. It just looks great. The meter looks real good. No yellowing in it. It just looks real nice. Even the case, as you can see, it's just beautiful. And you can see it's got legs on the back. And also there's legs on the bottom of it, or feet if you prefer. But yeah, great piece of equipment. I think the radio mechanic did a video on one of these out there too. There's still not a whole lot of information on the internet about these, but yeah, this is just a very, very nice piece of equipment. Also, you know, whenever you're using something like this and you have a capacitor, you know, your leakage is done up here in the switch. There's no discharge on this thing, so you know, always turn everything down when you go in, because you'll have up to this goes up to 600 volts on these terminals right here. So if you get one of these, be very careful, because it is dangerous. It can make for a bad day. But excellent little piece of equipment, very nice. Even the leather handle on top looks real good. So Mike, I thank you for all these great items you've seen in. Some nice stuff. This is, besides the magic eye tube, this will be another great piece of equipment, and I'll probably use this one over here on this bench. Now, you know, a lot of times we don't test capacitors, we just replace them, but sometimes it's nice to be able to test different capacitors and circuits, just to know what the health of that circuit is, what caused that capacitor to fail. You know, being if it's a vintage capacitor or something else in it, it's good to be able to look at capacitors that you're replacing, just to see, you know, what happened in that circuit. So thanks, Mike, for all these great items. Now the guys over at Creative Salvage, that's the same place I got that last set of test equipment for, sent this stuff over, and little tongue sole base connection. It's a tube handbook, and I gave them $1 for this, and this is from the 50s, 1958. But basically what it has is going to have all the tube listings in it, and then the diagram of the tubes. That way you can see, you know, what the connections are on the tubes. And this is good handy little reference chart when you're working with vintage tubes, for knowing exactly what pin numbers, you know, the elements of the tube are connected to. So nice little book there for $1. The rest of the stuff they just sent me and gave me. And here's 27 volumes of tube radio schematics. Now all this came from an individual that they had went and cleaned out. So I done looked at this CD, and there's tons of RCA, Emerson, all different kinds of tube radios made from back in the day. That was good to have. Now one thing they did have was that I did not have is the original manual for the 9 kg 600C tube tester. And this is one of the tube testers that I have. And got a back view diagram showing how everything is set up in the tester. in the original manual on how to put it together. This I do not have. I do have the schematic, and I do have a couple of roll chart diagrams, but like I say, I did not have the original manual that came with it. And this is just some of those diagrams on how to set the elements up for checking tubes. I already have most of this up there, so you're not bad. Even has the instruction manual now on how to put it together. So anytime you get documentation like this, it's nice to find this stuff. Modification manual for vacuum tube electronics. And it's just got a lot of information, you know, PIM capacitors, resistors, potentiometers, and you know, just various information on old vintage tube equipment for making modification. You know, even chapter 10 covers power amplifiers. That's a nice little information book there to come up with. And then, you know, we got various schematics and diagrams for different types of equipment that this guy's come up with back in the day. Some of this stuff is from the 50s and 60s. Some handwritten stuff on, you know, stuff he was working on, and a few more schematics and stuff. Model 319. Very nice. It's always good whenever you can come up with old documentation, you know, laying around. You can get it, you know, grab it, because there's some good stuff in these things. Okay, and the last box here, no name on the address. Have a note. Hi buddy, enjoy your videos. Thanks for providing this content to the ham community. I was cleaning out some old stuff and thought I'd send you this Cinco doorbell radio. Perhaps you can repair it and give it to a needy ham. Thanks again. Anonymous. Alrighty. See what we have here. Part of a faceplate. Yes, here's a Cinco. Alright, what we have here is the Cinco VHF UHF FM twin band transceiver. It's the DR599. It's a bit dirty, but complete. Has the microphone with the DTM F pad on it. But scratched up on the meter, and now I know what this is for. Actually, the faceplate on these are removable, and then you would bolt this back to the front of the case where the faceplate come off of, and you unplug the cable runs through here, snaps into there, then you can run an extended cable from the radio to the control head. We don't have the extended cable, but you know, he did send along the front faceplate for that, so very nice. You know, all the buttons are there. Like I say, she's a bit dirty, but we'll have to check it out and find out just what is going on and what's wrong with it. Okay, I have the power connected. We're connected up to a IFR Super S. We'll come over here and see if it powers up. And it does. We're on VHF band. We're on what, 14500 RF 145.000. And I get this question all the time. How do you use the IFR? Well, I'll go ahead and tell you, it's almost impossible for me to sit down and tell you exactly how to use a piece of test equipment like this, because it's got so much in there you can do. So basically, I'll show you how I set it up to read. Okay, so basically what we do, we know that we're going to be on FM, so we'll set all FM. We'll go to FM wide. We'll come up here and set our meter to 6 kilohertz. From right there on scope mode, turn back for on your divisions to about 0.1. This will give you a wider spectrum. We set the error meter at 10 kilohertz on receive. We'll come down here and we'll punch in our frequency, and this radio is on 145 right this moment, so we'll hit RF 145.0. make sure we zero all the way across. Now at this time you can hit enter, or you can just let it flash, it doesn't matter. Now the IFR is ready to receive a input signal. So we'll come here and we'll key the microphone. I hate those orange lights in these things. Okay, I got the power on low power. I want to make sure I was on low power. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. We can see we got a spike coming up right in the middle. We're looking at the error meter. We'll go down to 0.3. She's basically about dead on frequency. Look over at the deviation meter. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. And it is transmitting. On average watts, we're on the 15 watt scale. We're putting out about 5 watts. So the radio is transmitting with no problem on VHF. Now we'll see if it's receiving on VHF. And I hear no noise coming from the radio. Volume wide open, moving the squelch. I can see the busy indicator come up. So let me plug in the external speaker. Okay, external speaker's plugged in. We have some audio. We'll switch the AFR over to generate. Not hearing any tone whatsoever. The AFR is turned wide open, and you can hear the squelch breaking, but the VHF is not receiving any audio at all. In fact, the sensitivity is so bad, it's probably why it's not. So we do have a VHF receive problem. So what we're going to do is switch over to UHF, and we'll do that just by hitting the UHF button. Okay, we have no audio. There is 2 jacks in the back. One for VHF, one for UHF. I heard the speaker pop. Alright, we've got to switch the antenna jack over to the UHF antenna jack. This radio has no diplexer in it, so you have 2 antenna ports on the back. And we'll see, we're on 445.0, 445.0, enter. We'll go to generate. And you can see we are receiving. That's at 0.1 microvolt. So UHF is receiving with no problems. Let's see, put this on low power, and we'll see if we have any transmit. See, spike, deviation, test 1 2, test 1 2, very hard on UHF. And we'll go down to wattage. Yep, 5 watts UHF output. So it looks like the only thing that we need to do is find out what's wrong with the receiver on VHF. And we'll do this in another video. We'll get this thing cleaned up, everything tested out, repair the VHF receiver, do a full alignment on it, and we'll give this thing away to someone that's in need. Doesn't look, like it would be a too bad of a radio. Well guys, that was kind of quick. That's the way I like them, but yeah, another nice score, thanks to Mike and Creative Salvage, and to Mr. Anonymous for sending in these items. Always gives us something to do and make videos up. The more stuff we can pick up, the more videos we can get out in the future. So big thank you to all. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. I think we got some pretty good old equipment here to play around with. So we'll get the old Cinco fixed up and give it away to someone. So have a good weekend, and we'll see you in the next video.